And
What is that noise? Taylor's doing his body percussion again.
Yeah.
Hi, y'all, and welcome to a new episode of Talkin With Taylor. Today, I am joined by a woman who has played a princess, a dragon, and now the queen of songwriting, Carole King, and beautiful, the Carole King Musical. I'm so excited to chat with you, Sarah Bockel.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's jump right in. I like to ask people who are traveling the country, every city, a new city every couple of weeks, where is home for you?
Chicago.
Chicago?
Yeah.
I love Chicago.
Me too.
I saw an interview that you did when you were in Chicago and back home with this show, and you talked about, getting that start and starting out. And you were working as a waitress, and you were an understudy in a show, and you were actually waiting tables on people that were
that were going to the show.
Yeah, and you'd be like, well, you might not have a waitress at the end of this.
Well, if you're waiting for me a long time, I left. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what life was like then and how life has changed so dramatically now.
It has changed. I'm actually coming up on my 5-year no day job anniversary. If you can, I kind of try and celebrate every year at least a little bit. Because I did remember thinking I liked waiting tables in the afternoon, and then I would hopefully be in a show and rehearsing at night, or sometimes I'd run out of work really quickly to get to an audition. The Equity Building was by the restaurant, so I would run a couple blocks and then be sweating and change into my dress and look through my music really quickly, or do a monologue. And I liked that, hustle, and I felt like I was really doing the hard work and pounding the pavement, and
keeps you close to the ground.
Yeah, but then, after a couple of years, I was really looking to change it up. I didn't really think much beyond that. I always thought I'd be a waitress or doing something. I was also a temp. I taught babies music for a short period. I was not very good at that. And then I worked at a gym. I was a very bad personal assistant. I actually got the call that I got beautiful when I was a personal assistant. I was at Walgreens printing out the 6,000 pictures on her phone, going through them and making sure there was 2 copies of the certain ones that she wanted, whatever.
I'm sure you just quit right then.
I did. I kind of.
You could finish the photos right here yourself.
And then the job didn't start for 9 months, so I kind of just.
Like, uh-oh.
Yeah. It was a little too overzealous.
Tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the tour, how you got onto the tour, and then how you landed that incredible role of Carole King.
I got really lucky, and it was a long time. The timeline was long. I didn't have an agent, and I wasn't a union actor in Chicago, and I was actually in Into the Woods playing Cinderella and Rapunzel, both in a weird production where we all played multiple roles and never left the stage, and it was really fun. And I was lucky enough to get a really good pull quote from a reviewer that said I was an underused talent, and this reviewer he's one that we all want his approval. So I invited agents with that quote in my cover letter, and I got them to come to the show. And the agents that came, he's now my agent, and he said, we want to represent you, and we think you'd be really good and beautiful, so let's make a tape. So I went and I made the first tape I ever made. I make a lot now, a lot of self-tapes for auditions, and we sent the tape in, and it was about 6 months later. They said, we like her, we want her to come in. I flew to New York, I auditioned. They said, we want her to come back in a month. I came back in a month. A couple months later, they said, we want you to come in again. I came in again, and they said, we'd love you to be the understudy. And I was just so ecstatic, and that was a perfect fit for me. Yeah,
it's a real fairy tale moment.
Yeah, I got really, really, really lucky. It didn't even occur to me when I was going to New York. I was very nervous, shaky, nervous. It was certainly the biggest audition I'd ever done. But it didn't even seem like it was a possibility to me.
So then, how did it, kind of evolve? And did you go on the road? Did you land somewhere? Were you in Chicago? How did that work?
I did. I left and I went on the road. I started with the first national tour in 2015 of Beautiful. I understudied Abby Mueller, somebody who's also from Chicago and who was a big icon to me, as somebody that
the Mueller sisters, they were kind of like Chicago theater.
They're kind of like folklore, like the people that made it, and they're both sisters, and their brothers still lived in Chicago at the time, and so it was really cool to meet her, and just was an incredible experience for me to understudy her and watch her every night, and how present and grounded and like just open and honest she was every night, and I definitely learned how to be a leading lady from watching her.
Absolutely.
And I was really lucky I got to go on in Chicago, in my hometown, when the tour came the first time. And then I was lucky enough to understudy Julia Nightel, who is another former Carole that had a completely different, equally beautiful take on the role. And so I got to learn her ins and outs of how she did it every day. And then I got to take over, and I was just so happy, and I felt really ready to take over, like I knew how to handle it now.
The right people had been right there in all that time. So what was it like when you got that call to go to the biggest of the big, to go to Broadway?
Oh my God, it was, I just never dreamed that big to me. So it just felt so surreal. The whole couple weeks I spent on Broadway were really surreal, getting off at 42nd Street to go to work and go to the Sondheim Theater and have, your own dressing room that you don't have to pack up every week.
Right. It seemed like an almost kind of eerie parallel between Carole's actual life. I mean, when she made it to Carnegie Hall and, and get to that Broadway, so that's really incredible. Yeah,
definitely, to do a show for New York audiences in New York.
Absolutely. Well, I have one last question for you. This is a really incredible love story, beautiful, and it's about, how to find love, how to lose love, how to...
love for yourself.
Love for yourself, how to find love for yourself. So what has it taught you about love?
It's definitely taught me more love for myself. That singing that final song, you've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart, and you're as beautiful as you feel. There's definitely some days where I don't feel honest singing those lyrics because I don't feel like I'm good enough. Or authentic, and I'm trying to sell this message to everybody, but especially, women in the audience, that you are as beautiful as you feel from within, and it comes from within, and it's hard, and so a lot of that, trying to tell that, give away that message, it comes back to me, and I feel like I get the most out of it than anyone.
Well, I can't wait for our audiences to feel that love.
I'm excited.
Sarah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Taylor.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Talkin with Taylor. For more videos like this, follow us on social media at KC Starlight, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/KC Starlight. Beautiful Plays Under the Stars, June 25th through 30th. Get your tickets at kcstarlight.com.